What if the way you buy groceries changed dramatically by this fall? For millions of Americans, that's not a what if scenario, it's a real possibility. Right now, Congress is debating some of the biggest changes to SNAP, the program that helps so many families put food on the table that we've seen in years. And we're not talking about small tweaks, we're talking about a fundamental shift that could change who gets benefits and how much they receive. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office estimates one of the proposed changes alone could cause 3.2 million people to lose their benefits entirely. While nothing is set in stone, these discussions are moving quickly, and you need to know what might be coming. What if the way you buy groceries changed dramatically by this fall? For millions of Americans, that's not a what if scenario, it's a real possibility. Right now, Congress is debating some of the biggest changes to SNAP, the program that helps so many families put food on the table that we've seen in years. And we're not talking about small tweaks. We're talking about a fundamental shift that could change who gets benefits and how much they receive. In fact, the Congressional Budget Office estimates one of the proposed changes alone could cause 3.2 million people to lose their benefits entirely. While nothing is set in stone, these discussions are moving quickly, and you need to know what might be coming. First up, work requirements. This is where things could get really intense. Right now, most able-bodied adults between 18 and 54 without dependents have to work or be in a training program for at least 80 hours a month to get SNAP long-term. A new proposal wants to raise that age limit all the way to 64, but that's not all. A major proposal is also taking aim at parents. Usually, having a dependent child in your home exempts you from these work rules. Well, one of the new plans would change that, forcing parents to meet those same work requirements as soon as their youngest kid turns 7. Think about that for a second. That's a huge shift for families with school-age kids. On top of all this, the proposals want to make it harder for states to pause these rules, even in places where there just aren't enough jobs to go around. Supporters argue this is all about encouraging work, but critics worry it will just take food off the table for families who are already struggling without actually helping them find a job. The second massive change is a shift in who pays for SNAP, and it could have huge ripple effects. Here's the deal. For its entire history, the federal government has paid for 100% of the food benefits, while states split the administrative costs. A new proposal wants to completely blow up that model. Beginning in 2028, states would have to start paying for a portion of the actual food benefits themselves. The plan would require states to cover at least 5% of benefit costs, but that number could jump as high as 25% for states that have higher payment error rates. At the same time, the federal government would slash its share for administrative costs, forcing states to pay 75% of those bills instead of the current 50-50 split. When you shift billions of dollars in costs onto state budgets, they get stuck making some really tough calls. They might have to cut who's eligible, lower benefit amounts, or just make it harder to apply, especially when the economy is bad and more people need help. It could create a postcode lottery where the amount of help you can get literally depends on which side of a state line you live on. So while those bigger debates are happening, let's talk about the money. We already know the standard benefit amounts for fiscal year 2025 since those kicked in on October 1st, 2024. For example, in most states, the maximum monthly benefit for a household of 3 is $768, and a family of 4 can get up to $975. To qualify, a 3-person household generally needs a gross monthly income at or below $2,798. However, another proposal on the table could chip away at these amounts in the future. One plan aims to freeze future updates to the Thrifty Food Plan, which is what the USDA uses to calculate benefit amounts based on the cost of a healthy, budget-conscious diet. If they block future updates beyond simple inflation adjustments, SNAP benefits won't keep up with the real cost of food, meaning your dollars just won't stretch as far. There's another thing, too. Some proposals want to get rid of what's known as categorical eligibility. That sounds technical, but it's basically a tool that lets states help working families with a little bit of savings still qualify for assistance. Getting rid of it could mean that having even a small emergency fund is enough to disqualify your household from getting any help at all. So, what's the timeline on all this? These proposals are tied up in major budget negotiations, with many expecting final decisions around the end of the fiscal year in September or October 2025. I want to say this one more time. These huge changes are not law yet, but the conversation is happening right now, and the outcome is going to affect the more than 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP. Your best strategy is to stay informed. If you want to get the latest updates on these SNAP proposals as they develop, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And please, share this video with anyone you know who relies on SNAP benefits. This is information they deserve to have.